Ah, Halloween time. The most wonderful, joyful time of the year. Wait, that's Christmas. To celebrate this spooky time of year and to celebrate the fact that Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 are coming to the Switch, we are going to talk about the history of a cancelled Resident Evil game for the Game Boy Color. I'm your host for today, Pancake Armor Man, and in today's episode of the Gaming Gallery, we'll be discussing the beta of Resident Evil Game Boy. In 1999, about 3 or so years after the original Resident Evil was released for the PlayStation, Capcom announced plans to release the game for the Game Boy Color. Developed by G.A.M.E, Hot Potatoes. Who knows? Before more information was revealed on the port, it was speculated that Resident Evil Game Boy would be reworked from a top-down perspective. You can think of it as something similar to comparing the N64 version of Perfect Dark to the Game Boy version. However, fans were pleasantly surprised to see that Resident Evil Game Boy would be a one-by-one recreation of the PlayStation version, matching the glorious fixed camera and awkward controls we all know and love. And, not just that, but it was also confirmed that the Game Boy version would feature new enemies, the ability to disarm traps, some sort of rescue system, and most importantly, a new save system that allowed you to save at any time like a normal game should. And while fans of the Resident Evil series were pretty excited for this port, Capcom wasn't too pleased. When G.A.M.E sent Capcom the finished build for Resident Evil Game Boy, Capcom decided against releasing the game. In 2000, they released the following statement explaining the cancellation of the game. They were not confident that the product would have made both consumers and Capcom happy. In 2012, 2 builds of Resident Evil Game Boy were leaked online for all to enjoy. The first build was roughly 90% complete, mostly missing some polished character animations, especially the zombie death animation. The second version was from an earlier build of the game that wasn't quite as finished. Go figure, considering it's an earlier build. This version only features Chris's story, is very buggy, and all around just isn't as polished as the first one. While most of the game can be played on both versions, they both end around the lab elevator portion of the game, although unfinished assets from the final area were discovered in the game's coding, so that's something. Although the game was cancelled, however, this wouldn't be Capcom's last attempt at making a Resident Evil game for the Game Boy Color. In 2001, Resident Evil Gaiden was released, and just like early speculation claimed for the original game, Gaiden would in fact be a top-down game. So it all came full circle. It's the circle of life. Well, that's all for today, but don't forget to, do whatever you do to show appreciation to content creators on YouTube. There's a subscription button, a like button, some kind of bell thing, and I'm pretty sure there's like 5 other options as well. Hooray for options! If you'd like to hear more of my sexy voice, there will be a link to my Paper Mario Let's Play on screen. It's got nothing to do with Resident Evil, so there's your motivation to check it out. Thank you for watching this episode of the Gaming Gallery. I've been your host, Pancake Armor Man, and remember that in our hearts we all love Jill sandwiches. That sounds pretty suggestive when you think about it.